From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Louie B.
Yes, it is Ticats Today for a Thursday, April the 14th, 2022, meaning we are exactly 60 days away until the Ticats open their regular season in Saskatchewan against the Rough Riders, and just 31 days away until the Ticats kick off training camp May 15th. And we got a big show for you to set that up, as we are going to be joined by the president of football operations and head coach of the Hamilton Ticats, Orlando Steinauer. And we'll also be joined by my friend Luke Tasker, former Ticats receiver, now analyst here on the Ticats Audio Network. Looking forward to catching up with my friend Luke, and lots to get to with him. Happy Easter weekend to you and your family. Hopefully you have some downtime or some off time this weekend to take a breath and relax and enjoy what hopefully will be a nice spring weekend. We got a little spoiled with a couple of nice days down here at Tim Hortons Field. And of course, Forge FC is kicking off their home schedule. They lost on Sunday in their CPL season opener, but they are back at it on Saturday when they welcome Cavalry FC to Tim Hortons Field in their home opener in the Canadian Premier League. All right, as mentioned, Luke Tasker will be joining us, Orlando Steinauer as well. But before we get to that, let's get to the news and notes portion of the show, and a couple of big notes happening this week. And let's start with the promotion of offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Tommy Condell and defensive coordinator Mark Washington. They have been promoted. They will maintain their current titles, but they will also add assistant head coach to their roles, and they have also signed extensions with the club through the 2023 season. We'll get into this with Coach O, but Condell entering his sixth season with the Ticats over two separate stints. He's appeared in 4 Grey Cups with the Cats, and in 2021, his offense picked up wins with 3 different starting quarterbacks, with both Masoli and Evans missing time over the season. In addition to the quarterbacks, the offense also overcame the loss of 2019 All-Star Braylon Addison, offensive lineman Kay Okafor, and just really impressive what Coach Tommy was able to do last year with the offense. And Coach Washington entering his 3rd season as a defensive coordinator. He originally joined the team in 2019. And his defense followed up an historic campaign in 2019, with another solid showing in 2021, where the Ticats posted the league's best run defense and held opponents to a league low in rushing yards per game, and rushes over 10 yards, rushes over 20 yards. They also led the league in interceptions and interception return touchdowns. If you missed it, I had a chance to catch up with both these fine gentlemen, Tommy Condell and Coach Washington. You can find it right here on the Ticats Audio Network, but do want to play a couple of clips here from you for you. Let's start with Coach Condell. I asked him about what he learned in 2021 that he's taking with him moving forward in 2022, and here's what he had to say.
I think every year you're going to learn something. Every year is different. Every team's different. It doesn't matter when one person gets in, back or different that's in the room. It's different. It's a different dynamic. It's a different energy, and the culture needs to be established and grown. And so every year is differently, and I hope I learn from every year, and I do. And, especially getting a chance to from a 2021 atmosphere. I think it was very different. And I learned to be able to try to always make sure that you always worry about the things that you can control. And that was always challenging because with all the COVID things of that stuff. But, we learn, we move on. We certainly take the notes and the things that are going to help us in order to improve for next year. But we're not going to be, basically mulling or really being steeped in the past. We learn from it and move on. So there's a lot of individual things that we've learned, or I've learned, and to be able to be better as a football coach and ultimately as a better man.
That is Coach Tommy Condell, assistant head coach, offensive coordinator, and quarterbacks coach for the Hamilton Ticats. And you can catch our full conversation wherever you found this show on the Ticats Audio Network, or you can go to ticats.ca, and you'll be able to find it right there on the main Page. Tommy Condell is back. Mark Washington is back as well. And we had a chance to catch up with Coach Washington again, entering his third season as a defensive coordinator. And again, 2021, nothing really came easy for this Ticats team on offense or defense. And I wanted to know what kind of lessons that Coach Washington was taking from 2021 and applying this new season. Here's what he had to say.
How much time do we have? You know what I mean? It's, you better learn from the experiences, right? And I think we've done that. We've made it a point to make sure that we do that. I think our guys will continue to mature and prepare and understand, wow, every play matters. Whether that play is in the first quarter, second, third, it doesn't matter. Every play matters. Understand the situations and the moments that we're in, not allowing them to dictate how you're going to execute. And so, it was a ton of things that we've been able to look at and evaluate as a staff and as an organization to help prepare our team so that we're going to always learn from the lessons. You learn from wins and losses, right? You can learn from every experience in life. And we want to make sure that we are learning something from these experiences, good or bad.
That is the newly named assistant head coach and defensive coordinator, Coach Mark Washington. And you can catch our full conversation on the Ticats Audio Network or at ticats.ca. So that was kind of the big piece of news that dropped over the past week. Also, another piece that came out was that on Tuesday, Hamilton Sports Group and First Ontario Credit Union announced a new 5-year extension to their innovative partnership focused on providing social and community impact. And very exciting that community components such as First on the Field flag football, the Be Fit program with the Ticats, Forge FC's Captain Award, Fit with Forge program, all of that amazing community partnerships that have been going on for so long thanks to our friends at First Ontario. That's all going to continue to be happening, and we're really excited that First Ontario Credit Union, of course a staple in the Hamilton community, is back with us for a new 5-year extension on our very exciting partnership. For more info on that, you can go to ticats.ca. All right, very pleased now to be joined by a very busy man, 1 month out from training camp. He is the president of football operations, in addition to the head coach of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. It was Orlando Steinauer. And Coach, appreciate you spending some time this afternoon with me. And let's start with the big news of the week, and that is the extensions and promotions of your coordinators, offense coordinator Tommy Condell and defensive coordinator Mark Washington. Just tell us a little bit about how this all came about and what you're expecting from these men in their new role.
Well, it's when it comes to Tommy and I have had a relationship that's obviously dated back to 2013 when we were on staff together when I was the defensive coordinator. And Tommy is a tireless worker that he's just a great person. I've gotten to know his family over the years and whatnot. And, just his expertise in his field it goes without saying, right? The proof is in just what he's been able to put together. And so this is something that, Tommy has earned. He definitely deserves it. And with that being said, though, behind closed doors, there'll be some other things that they'll be privy to, and we'll give him a few special projects. But other than that, he's our offensive coordinator. And I'm just excited that Tommy wants to remain a part of this and part of our football organization, and of course, the Hamilton community. So fired up for Tommy.
And Coach Washington, when I've talked to guys who have either re-signed or have signed here, one of the first things they say is Coach Washington and what he's been able to do with this defense. A well-deserved promotion with the new title, but getting to keep him around. How important is it to have him in place to really get to build out what you want to do with your defense and what he wants to do with his defense?
Well, I think in Mark, again, what you have is an outstanding person. You're going to hear the same sentiments here when I'm talking about, Mark, that I did with Tommy. The difference being that, I have a longer standing relationship with Tommy, but I feel like with Mark, I feel like I've known Mark since 2013. Obviously I played against Mark and watched him play. And then I've watched his defenses when I was coordinating also. And, there's always a tremendous amount of respect there. But I feel like I've known Mark a lot longer than I have. And then Mark is another person that has definitely deserves this, but he's earned this opportunity, and he's gonna relish it, and he's gonna take off with it. But at the same time, the same things and the expectations are the exact same when it comes to that. He's going to be in charge of the defense and running the defense. He'll just be privy to a little bit more information and those type of things. And these are guys that I was leaning on anyway. And sometimes it's nice to get the recognition and to put it out there. And again, these guys are both very deserving, but they've also earned this. And, Mark and his family have gotten to know them really well. And the fact that they want to remain in the organization and part of the community, it just bodes well for everybody, Louie.
That being said, I mean, you have to understand that these guys are going to be wanted, right, elsewhere, because their resumes speak for themselves. Do you feel like, not that you would ever stop them from taking new opportunities, but how do you feel like these promotions can kind of help them feel like they are a huge part of this? Not that they don't feel that already, but how do you feel like these promotions can help that for you?
Well, that's always for the people on the outside in. I feel like when you have great people in your building and you've had the type of achievement that we've had around here, it's obvious that people are going to want them. So however it helps them, I'm all for that, but I'm also for keeping great people around. I think we're building something special here and something that's sustainable. And so however it helps them, I'm totally okay with that, Louie. This is more, I think it is important that as people grow and as they achieve that they do get some different recognition. But, at the end of the day, they're here to coach football, and titles are one thing, but it's what they do on the daily that I'm excited about.
Speaking of coaches, over the last few weeks here on Ticats Day, we've been catching up with different positional coaches. Last week with Coach Gibson. I think we're pretty much caught up to date. So in terms of your coaches, now that you've all been together for, I believe, a couple of weeks at least now in the offices, getting accustomed to each other, what's your overall first impression of the men you have in the coaching room, and how do you hope that translates to results on the field?
Well, I think the greatest test is over time, right? So we've met on some Zoom calls leading up to it, but when everybody is together in the office and whatnot, that's always going to be a different feeling, right? About just how the dynamics are, and seeing people daily, feeling their energy is it's extremely important. And and then when it comes to practicing on the field and those type of things, that's when you really get a chance to work, right? You can talk about things, but getting out there on the field and actually feeling it, that's a whole different thing. So there's no different. I was excited the day that we were able to assemble everybody, and I'm just as excited today.
I want to get to training camp in just a second, but let's go back a few weeks first, and let's talk CFL Combine. One of the first events that has been able to be done in person outside of Grey Cup. But what was that like, getting in a room with your contemporaries across the CFL, getting to see prospects in person, up close, ask them questions directly? Just your overall experience of the CFL Combine a few weeks ago.
It's exciting. You can really sum it up in one word. It's exciting. And you got to remember that this is an opportunity of a lifetime for these young men that are getting an opportunity to possibly make football their career. And a lot of them have aspired to do this since they were small. And it's fun to see them in action and just competing against the best players, basically across North America and, of course, across Canada. So you could go on and on about the Combine, but it is good also, with the year off last year, and is just seeing everybody in person. And then it's fun to see your colleagues from across the league also, the other coaches and GMs and presidents and those type of things. It's a fun time for the whole CFL to come together before we try to clash heads and we're trying to beat each other up.
So what has it looked like since Combine? Obviously, that's a component of scouting for the draft. There's a lot that goes on before, Combine Day, Combine weekend. But since Combine to the draft in a few weeks, what is going on behind the scenes?
Well, it's extremely elaborate. Drew's definitely an expert in this field, and we're obviously reviewing things and notes, and obviously looking at more tape Drew's been tracking these players for a lot longer than the rest of us, but with Spencer and Ed, it's we've got a great handle on where we're at, and we're starting to hone in. And of course, it's there's the global draft also along with the CFL draft, where that'll be an extremely busy day where everybody across the league is trying to get better. So the process I'm not going to say it's never ending, because there is a time when you just got to hone in on your strategy, but you also got to be flexible that it's not likely to always go how you anticipate.
CFL Global Draft, for our listeners and viewers, is happening the same day as the CFL Draft. That's May 3rd. It'll be a 12 o'clock Global Draft. The CFL Draft happening later in the day. And now I want to get to training camp, because a month today we'll be in rookie camp, and training camp starting just a little bit after that on May 15th. What are you feeling at this point? Excitement is one word, but outside of that, is there nerves? What are you feeling a month out from training camp?
Well, since you asked me the question, I am allowed to use the same word again. It's excitement, and there are things outside of that, but it's an exciting time, and you get to see your football team outside of the paper and outside of the four walls and all the predictions of how it's going to happen, and you get a chance to work together, and that's really what it's about. So it is genuine excitement, and other than that, it's about being prepared to be out there, and you're trying to stay as healthy as you can, and then you're going to be looking forward for the first preseason game. So all that's going to happen extremely fast, but looking forward to it. And I've just learned over time that it's here before you know it. So wishing that it got here sooner or whatnot, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do a whole lot.
That being said, your roster pretty much set. You got a draft coming up, but do you expect to see some more faces, some different faces at camp? I know when we talked to Spencer a few weeks ago, he had said that you guys were exploring every avenue of player acquisition. Is that something that's still on the table?
It's still on the table. It's not completely set. I imagine there'll be some more announcements here, even leading up to even after the draft and those type of things. And you're always looking to add to your roster if you think it betters you. And then there's some players that come up here just waiting to make decisions, and that's why the decision is made so late. So we're always actively pursuing, but once training camp hits, we're gonna be extremely excited about the players that we do have and that are here.
And let's just talk about some of the guys, because I've noticed that Dane has been on the field almost every day the last week and a half. And, guys have been around and working out in the gym and working with strength coaches. What do you talk to them when they're in town? Like, are there conversations that happen, or do you kind of let them do their own thing?
Oh, no. I mean, when you're down there, you see them in the locker room or walking around, or they'll come up and chit chat and do their things. And it's not always about football. So yeah, when I'll go through the weight room and people are down there, hitting the weights, and they're out on the field conditioning, and that's exciting. I remember being that player, and you're starting to get the itch, and, some players are coming up, well before camp. Some players have stayed here the whole off season. So it's fun. So no, you give them their space, but when you run into one another, you're just saying, what's up?
You're not putting your head down and avoiding eye contact.
Nah, for what?
No, exactly. You mentioned you get that itch. Do you still feel it? You haven't played for a couple of years now, Coach, but do you still get that itch once spring comes around, because you've been in the league for so long? When the calendar changes, you still got that itch to throw the pads on?
Yep. But it's a young man's game. Like, I might have a kickoff cover in me or something. Maybe I'll play safety or something. I can get them lined up now. If you just want somebody to go out there and get them lined up. But I had my shine. My time's over, Louie. But you do get – I'll tell you what, when you feel that game day atmosphere, there is a piece of your mind that says, man, I do miss that part of it. You're about as close as you can get to it currently as a coach. But there's nothing like being in that locker room and doing that. That's just a whole different feeling. And now you got to get your satisfaction elsewhere. But I don't miss it, because I couldn't cheat the game, because I don't have a desire to train like I used to, Louie. Like, I used to love that part of it. And then, but now, no thanks.
The ice tub.
I'm good.
You and the ice tub aren't friends anymore then? Is that
For what? Why would I get cold? Why would you get cold for no good reason? Come on.
Coach, appreciate this as always. I want to wish you and your family a very happy Easter this weekend and enjoy some downtime, hopefully ahead of a very busy next couple of weeks right into the season. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Louie. Happy Easter to you too.
My thanks to President of Football Operations and head coach of the Hamilton Ticats, Orlando Steinauer, for joining me this afternoon, and lots to get into on that with him. 1 month. Yes, I've been saying this. My buddy's getting married May 14th. Ticats training camp starts May 15th, which actually kind of lines up pretty well to what happened last year, where training camp opened and my friend got married the same day. Different friend, different wedding, different couple, but still nice to get right back in it. 1 month from tomorrow, depending on when you're listening to this, I guess, May 15th, Ticats open training camp. And a man who knows a thing or two about training camp is our next guest, Luke Tasker. He's a former Ticat. He's also a Ticats Audio Network analyst. And Luke, man, it's great to connect with you. Lots to get to, of course, with Tommy and Coach Washington's extensions, training camp. But I just want to start with how you doing, man? How are the kids? How's the wife? How's everything going on that side of the Niagara River?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me on. Getting ready to getting geared up for another year. We're all doing great. My twins just turned 2 the other day. We are neck deep in twin 2-year-olds and a 4-year-old. Jenna's great. So yeah, we're hanging in there. And now the snow's all gone in Buffalo, so things are on the up.
I mean, it's only April 14th. The snow could come back. We both know what Western New York and Southern Ontario winters can do. And congrats, the terrible 2s times 2.
Yeah.
Do they live up to their the standard so far?
Oh, one day yes, and the next day it changes. So who knows, man? I take it day by day here.
They're little angels all the time, is what I'm hearing. Right? They are the 2 best behaved 2-year-olds you'll ever meet. That's what I'm getting from this. Let's talk about a month out, because, like I said, it's only a couple years since you last put on the pads. Do you start feeling it, like, even now, like the weather's starting to change, the snow's starting to melt? Like, is there something internal that's clicking for you right now?
Yeah. And as a player, especially during this time, your internal clock is going on, and kind of, whatever your off-season endeavor was, there's a month left in that until you switch gears and put the pads back on. But this time really is like the peak of your off-season training. A month before, you're pretty much ready to go. If you timed it up right and you hit the ground running, and whatever your schedule was, early January, mid-January, now you're pretty much ready to go, and you maintain until camp. If you were lifting heavy, now it's kind of turned over to your running a lot in your training, getting your hamstrings ready for the workload of training camp, and maintaining. And then, hopefully, and the way that I did it is in the last week, you kind of make sure that you get a little bit of rest and enjoy the last week before you really go for it. So yeah, the guys are probably in great shape at this point, and really kind of gearing up for it here. And not me anymore, man. It's been a little while since I've pushed any weight around, but mentally for me, man, I'm excited to get back up there and to get things rolling again.
Getting back to the 2-year-olds, the most weights you've been lifting is what, a pair of 25
22 pounders, yeah.
22 pounds on each arm. Maybe the 4-year-old on your
pounds
back.
Of chub. Yeah.
Let's talk about the big news this week, and it's the promotions and the extensions of the offensive coordinator and Tommy Condell and defensive coordinator and Mark Washington. Let's start with Coach Tommy, because someone you obviously know well, and Coach knows him, and it's always really been a collaborative effort with this coaching staff. But to see Tommy get promoted to this long-time relationship, just your initial thoughts to see this promotion and extension firstly for Coach Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, not a huge surprise to me right off the bat. I think Tommy and Coach O have worked great together. I think they have a mutual respect, and I think they approach the game in a very similar way. They both love the journey towards greatness, and so to sign Tommy up for 2 more years makes a lot of sense to me. I obviously personally have a lot of respect for Tommy, and he was a really his relationship with mine was a great thing for my career, and he both taught me a ton about my development in the game as a player, And also, just on a personal level, he's an important guy to me. I love his family. I love the way he does things. And I think he's great for Hamilton. I think it was a smart move for the Ticats to get him back. And I think that Coach O and Tommy together, Mark Washington, the whole crew, they're hungry. They don't want to be done with their time in Hamilton before having a ring, and I think it's important to them. And I'm glad to see that their journey is going to continue.
Dane Evans has been around Hamilton a lot lately and training here and working out here. And we've seen, Alden Darby, who hasn't taken a snap. We've seen Sim and Julian Hauser and Dylan Wynn come through here. What does it mean to the players who either can't practice here, because you have other responsibilities elsewhere, but what does it mean to see guys commit to the city, commit to the facility? And to that point, what does it say about what's here at Tim Hortons Field, that guys want to be here and think that being here gives them the best chance to be in playing shape?
Yeah. The ownership there, Bob Young, for the last 2 decades plus, Tim Hortons Field is a place that guys can call home throughout the offseason. It wasn't like that forever in Hamilton. I don't know, but I'm going to take a stab and say there was that Ivor Wynn wasn't packed in the offseason. There wasn't a whole lot of bustle around there, I'm guessing, but this is a place where guys can dig in and they can call home. And Simone, Dane, all those guys, it doesn't surprise me that this kind of, for them, it ends up being the best place to spend an off season. And I think those guys you see who spent the off season here, who are in the weight room during the long, the dark winter and then into the spring, those guys hit the ground running in training camp. They generally have a healthy, successful training camp. And for some of your leaders to be doing that, I think that says a lot about where the team is and where they're going to be going this year.
Let's talk about Dane, because you saw up close and personal back in 2019, him kind of take the reins from Jeremiah because of an injury and really run with it. Now that, and I got to be careful how I say this, it's not that Jeremiah's not looking over his shoulder, but now that Dane is the man, what are you expecting to see from him growth-wise, on the field, off the field? Does he need to grow? Has he always been that leader? But what are you expecting to see from Dane in 2022 that you were, fortunate to get to see up close in 2019?
Yeah, I think that in the passing game, I think you'll see Dane progress in being calm and being quick with his decisions when he can be. And like every quarterback, as they progress, I think it's purposeful. You have to be purposeful about not forcing things. Quarterback is it's just a classic position where guys make the mistake of feeling like you have to do everything right now and throwing some balls that you wish that you wouldn't. But his mentality, I think, with Dane, I almost think we're not going to see much of a difference because he's always had the mentality of a champion, of a winner. He took the field like that as a young quarterback. And, I think this really comes from not 2019, but 2018, where younger Luke Tasker and a Dane Evans would practice drop kicks on the field after every practice, really just wasting time and messing around. But that's where his strive for greatness comes from, I think.
Yeah. The drop kick, still waiting to see that one broken out in gameplay. Luke, really appreciate you doing this, man. I know we're a month out. I'm sure people are going to ask. You have no desire to strap on the pads, though, eh? Nothing to tell us here on the show. You don't want to make some major announcement about camp or anything like that?
Yeah, I signed with Toronto, so I'll be.
Could you imagine? Oh man, could you? First of all, if you did, I would have ended this call right away. Our friendship, everything would have just ended at the second that happened. So, all right. But if you do ever have anything to announce, you know which show to do it on, right? This one.
Desire or no desire, like I told you, I mean, my years of bench pressing and power lunging or whatever I used to do in the weight room, those days are a couple years behind me, man. No, I'm just excited to get back in the booth, man. RJ Broadhead is going to be back. The Ticats Audio Network year 2 coming up, and led, of course, by my guy on a daily basis, Louie B, taking the reins, and it's gonna be a fun season. I'm excited to get things going.
So you're not going to miss those 5:45 a.m. wake up calls at McMaster to get down for breakfast. I mean,
I still have 5:45 wake up calls. They're just not a big master anymore.
I was about to say, I hopefully we'll see you at camp in the next few weeks. I've been saying this for the last few weeks. I'm definitely coming over. We're going to go to a Wegmans. We're going to go to Tops. We'll hit Target. I want to get all the spots in Western New York I've been missing the last
Wegmans and Tops. Wow.
You got to do both. Sure. Finish it off with some Target, and that's all I need. Sam's Club. Do you have a Sam's Club membership? Because I don't anymore.
No, we don't have a Sam's Club membership, but there's Costco. I guess you guys are privy to Costco as well up there.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll make a day out of it. Luke, thanks for doing this, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Louie.
My thanks to Luke Tasker for joining me. My thanks to President of Football Ops and head coach Orlando Steinauer for stopping by as well. And my thanks to you for tuning into today's show, as we could not do it without your support. So thank you. Make sure you recommend this show to a Ticats fan in your life. Subscribe so you never miss an episode on the Ticats Audio Network. And while you're there, leave a review. And if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can hit me up on Twitter at Louie B _TV. I wish you and your family a very happy Easter weekend. Shout out to Forge FC as they welcome Cavalry FC to Tim Hortons Field on Saturday. And again, happy Easter to you and the family. We are back next week for an all-new Ticats Today for the Ticats Audio Network. I'm Louie B. Hoping you have a great Easter and a great weekend.